Okay. Hey everyone, Vidette Mayer here. I get so nervous doing these live. I don't even know if anyone's on the other end, and probably not at this point. But even still, I get so terrified as I wait for these lives to go on. There's something very different about doing it live versus doing it on a video. And even, I don't know, I know the whole editing thing, but I'm trying to be less edited, and that's very terrifying. So I was doing some continuing education earlier this afternoon on just keeping up certifications and stuff like that I have. And what I love about what I do is everything. My continuing education is actually courses that I love to do, and they take me even deeper into the healing modalities that I use. And this continuing education is really getting into the history of the tarot, and really getting into the breaking down the first the first 21 cards, which is the major arcana cards, and breaking down in the hero's journey, which Joseph Campbell is known for that book, writing that story, the hero's journey, and really how the first 21 cards of a divination deck versus the hero's journey, and how they come together and how they overlap, and really going down into the history of each of the 21 cards. And I absolutely love it. So today was all about the Fool. I'm going to be writing more about it in our Normally Weird community. But the Fool, so I took out all the Fool cards in the different decks that I have, to kind of really delve down deeply into the symbolic nature of the archetype of the Fool, the innocence, and stepping into a brand new evolution of oneself, of self-actualization. It's starting out on a brand new journey. And when we think of our lives as kind of a life death cycle, it's not just we're born and then we die. There's all of these different life death life cycles, and we're letting go of an older version of ourselves to invite in the innocence of a brand new Fool archetype. And then it breaks down even deeper into the polarity of the Fool, and what we are really attached to in our culture is the lower frequency, or the shadow side of the Fool, which is deceitful, and or foolish. The dark side of it is, you could, whatever side you want to call it, the dark, the negative, the shadow side, the lower frequency. You get what I'm saying? There's the Fool, just the idiot, the ignorant Fool. And then there's the other side of the Fool, which is coming into a whole new evolution of themselves. And they're innocent. They've just stepped into this new pair of shoes, so to speak. Seems familiar, but they have just the hope and dreams, and they're moving forward in their lives. So there is an innocence. There is the opposite expression of ignorance. There's an ignorance of not knowing what we're doing, not knowing what's happening. And yet we just kind of go in and we bring the lessons. The Fool has, he's bringing in all of the lessons from this previous life, and skipping away with it, so that he's bringing the wisdom from those previous lives, but coming into this brand new expression of himself, to learn what that expression is and how does it express itself into this new realm. And that's where a lot of us are coming into. We've spent the last few months just shedding and looking at these darknesses, and looking at all the ways that we're living these polarities of idea, and still living with the denser or the lower frequency or the shadow side of it. And we've been cleansing and clearing and really owning that and looking at it and breaking it down. And that's what these last few months have been like. So they've been intense and they've been heavy. And now, as I'm moving into this journey and spent the whole day, really the whole morning with the Fool, and really exploring that, I was able to look at myself and journal out, where am I still being, the shadow side of the Fool, and where have I lived in that? Like, how have I been the Fool in the shadow side? And quite frankly, what I found is I've been the Fool by not speaking up for that which I knew I had to speak up for. I've been the Fool because I stayed quiet on things, protecting others rather than knowing what is right for myself to express what it is I need to express. So there's been a lot of me looking at myself and taking ownership for how I'm still showing up in all, these little pockets, these secret little pockets of life where I peek into, I'm like, oh, I'm still the Fool there. I'm still being the Fool. I got to clear that. But now it's getting lighter and lighter. So now what really, at the end of my journaling and kind of exploring the Fool card and the archetype, is how am I stepping into the innocence of the Fool? How am I stepping into that higher frequency expression of the Fool? So that's really gotten me excited about looking at the energies and the polarities of different things. So I wanted just to come in and do this this YouTube live and just pull some cards. Being that I've been floating around in the Fool's energy, I'm assuming that there's a message here from the Fool card, and that is, as we go through a couple of cards today and pulling some cards, pulling out different nuggets and ideas, keep in the back of your mind, where are you in your life playing the Fool, and which polarity of the Fool are you? Are you playing the Fool still by accepting something that is not the truth? Or are you playing the Fool in the higher expression, where you are going into a brand new expression of yourself because you've chosen to change and evolve and grow into a higher expression? And now there's a whole new world or a whole new dimension of beingness that you have to explore. So keep that question in the back of your mind as we explore this Fool energy, which I kind of like. So the first one is, you're not alone. You're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, and community. Isn't that so fitting for where we are? Because that's how it feels, for empaths right now. It feels very isolating. It feels because we are feeling kind of the all of it, all of it. And if you're here and you're still listening to this, you're understanding that it goes way beyond being empathic and feeling others. And I mean, we're now feeling a humanity, and we're also feeling a planet that's also going through a lot of change and a lot of up leveling and growth. So it feels very isolating because we're all kind of like, oh my God, I can't take any more. No matter how that's showing up in the outer world, it's the outer reflection of what's in here. So it does feel lonely. So when we look out into the world, it also looks lonely, right? Because people aren't out like they used to. And when you do go out, you can't, we don't have our familiar human connection, the ease of human connection anymore. We don't have our facial gestures, people didn't make eye contact before. So they're sure as hell not making eye contact now. So not only did we, if someone didn't make eye contact with me, I could look at their mouth and see, are they happy? Are they sad? Are they saying hi and just not looking at me? That was our connection, and that's been taken away. And so, and the thing left is the more intimate of all connection. It's no wonder we feel isolated, even though we still see people. So you're not alone in that, but you're also the different polarity. The opposite polarity of that is you are not alone in carrying this desire to step into those higher levels of yourself. You are not alone. I'm doing the work too. I know I have a whole network of people that are doing the work. In the Ascension Network, we're doing the work at least twice a week. We're gathering, and you don't have to pay anything to get into the Ascension Network. It's not that. It is literally here to help. So we invite people to come into the Ascension Network so you don't feel so alone. And I'm not going to charge you. You just bring your energy and you give back to us what we're giving in there. And we're going to have a nice little exchange, and we're going to go deep, and we're going to help each other through this up-leveling process, because it feels so lonely. But you are not alone. None of us are, as long as we just claim it and say, you know what, I want the higher expression of not being alone. I'm the higher expression of of stepping into a higher expression of myself, so that all of these people can do that, and then we can start making changes. Because staying in the other option, which is you're not alone, or you're feeling alone, is the physical world is reflecting all of that, and that's a really hard world to live in. So if we could choose, maybe I'm choosing to go in the forward expression of myself, so that I can help create something better than what we got over here. Second card, the Void. And it says, stop, embrace the winter, the great cosmic wound. Sorry, not wound. See, there's the opposite expression of womb. The great cosmic womb. The Void is what's coming to me is the perspective piece. The Void is really asking, this card is asking us, or reminding us, to go into that space where there is no expectation. There's no expectation. There's no perception. There's simply that space of feeling what it is you want to create. What is the thing that you're moving forward to? What is the thing that is brand new to you? What is this? What is the thing that you're stepping into? And I know for us, we're stepping into a higher level of lifestyle. We are letting go of having more of a normal kind of looking life, and going into a life of travel and relocating, and that's taken a lot of work. And yet we stand here as the fools, because we're stepping into a higher level that we don't understand yet. We can't explain barely to ourselves, let alone the people who don't agree with us. So it's hard for us to even tell them, because we're in brand new territory. We've never been in this experience. So if I haven't been in this experience, how am I going to explain it to someone who hasn't even chosen to get into the experience? Right. So this is a really lonely place, where the other part of this is, I'm not alone. I have to remember that, because there are others like me, you're going through the same thing, where you're like, okay, I'm going for this, and I can't explain to anybody why we're doing it. I have no evidence whether it's going to work out or not. I just know it's a desire, and I'm going for it. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. It's going to be real easy for me to quit this, because it would be a lot easier to quit. Then I wouldn't have to explain anything. But I know I would hate myself. I would live a slow death, a slow and painful death, if I did not keep going towards this thing that has called me forth for a decade. So this is something for you. Whatever that thing is that you are working on, that's been painfully, just agonizingly gnawing at you, you are, if not already over, you are just stepping over the line of where you're in it. You have stepped into it. You are the fool. And you feel like a fool, right? You feel like a fool standing there, because you're like, wait a minute, it looks like I've stepped over the line. It looks like I've actually accomplished what I'm looking at, but it felt really hard, and it feels really scary. And do I trust it? And am I going to be a fool in the opposite side of what I'm feeling? Am I going to be the fool in the lower expression, or am I actually the fool in the big expression? When you go into the Void and just shut all of this down, got a car or a truck coming by, you guys. I'm on the balcony, so the road's right there. But when you go into the Void and just sit there, and you feel into that version of you that's teetering right over the quote unquote finish line, or is it the birth line? I don't know what we call it, but it's that line where you're just like, I've crossed it. Oh my God, I've officially crossed the line, but you can't believe that the race is, is over, or is it just beginning? So you're in that confusion. That's like exciting as all hell, and yet it's terrifying. And don't forget that you're not alone, because I'm there with you. I'm feeling that teeter, like, oh my gosh. But I also know, right? And I know you do too. The last card is karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, and conflict. Oh, this is the physical manifestation. This is the third card. So this represents the physical world. How is this showing up? How is this this soul growth and this heart growth? How is that tied into the physical world? So all of that is tied in. Everything we've talked about so far is tying into how these relationships. There's a relationship or two that are conflicting in your mind and your heart and your soul and your life, and you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, how does this end, or I don't even know, because you've tried all the different avenues of this relationship, and it keeps ending in conflict, and it's just rubbing the abrasiveness off of both of you, and even though what's happening, or as an empath you can feel, or I know for me sometimes I'm like, man, I know what's on the other side of this. I get the intention behind it. Can we just get on with it? And yet there's a lot of growth in just every single exchange of some sort. Okay. In all things, what's coming to me is there is different levels of energy that's being exchanged between you and this person that has a lot of conflict between you. There's a lot of energy being exchanged, and not all of it is seen. Not all of it is felt and typed out. Not all of it is on a screen. There's a lot of this going back and forth. And as long as you're conscious to what you are bringing to that conversation, that energetic conversation, then you are going to have that karmic relationship be healed, however it's supposed to heal. So don't forget that even though you might be saying the right things on email and on your text or whatever, or by phone or in person with this person, don't forget that you have a lot of this going on in the shower. In the middle of the night, you wake up with all the things you wish you would have said or are going to say, or you're thinking of all the things. And in that moment, you do a check-in, and you check in and you say, am I being the fool here, or am I being a new version of me? And am I bringing the innocence of a brand new mind who chooses to think differently about this person and this situation and this conflict? And that doesn't always mean taking the high road. It just means coming from a place of truth, even when you design conversations in your mind. Do it from that higher space, that higher vibration of the Fool, and that higher version of you, so that you can still be pushing forth, not pushing so that you can be putting forth a higher energy of healing to that person that you are intentionally keeping on top of your mind. If they're going to live there, at least make it worth your while and do some healthy imagining of truthful and yet assertive, grounded, and loving words and thoughts. Send that out to that relationship, and it will appear it goes into the void, right? It goes into the void and rearranges the outcome so that it shows up differently in this reality called the physical world. So pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to how you're showing up in the world. And are you going to be the fool and be like the jerk, or are you going to be the fool and be the wise one and just birth this brand new version of you that's already here? You now get to step into that version of yourself and behave from that version of yourself and create from that version of yourself. Thanks for being here today. I'm Vidette Mayer. You can go to my website at videtteMayer.com to check in on everything we've got going on. I'm writing for Normally Weird, as well as doing healing sessions. And soon, very soon, we'll be doing healing immersions abroad. And I'm quite excited about that. And I'm quite excited to tell you more. But until then, please subscribe to our channel. Please like this video and share it if you think it will inspire someone else to step into the higher level version of being their own fool. See you next time. Bye.